And good morning is 7:03 on this Thursday, June 18th. It's time to head to Studio B for Coleman and Company.
Hello, everybody. We welcome you on a Thursday morning. Today looks a little bit different from the previous three. It's cloudy and overcast, but going to be a tremendous day after all. And we, of course, are on the air for Bates Ford. And our friends from Bates Ford are with us this morning. We've got Paul Tubb. Paul, good morning.
Good morning.
And we have Ronnie Kelly. Ronnie, good morning.
Good morning.
All right, we're all set to go here, and I hope y'all are in rare style and had a good week and looking forward to a great weekend and Father's Day and all that good stuff.
It's looking good. Weather's looking good. Going to be hot, but we got some hot deals at Bates Ford too, so you can come see us.
Good golf weather, isn't it?
Unfortunately, I got a little baseball.
Oh, either one's all right. Either one's okay.
I'll take either. Actually, I love the baseball, but it's kind of fun.
Well, to what extent are you doing it? I mean, is the fans in the stands? And
Yeah, I mean, we're playing, my little 12U travel teams played a couple. We played what they call Game 7. It's a sanctioned event tournament. We played in Hendersonville last weekend. We're playing what they call U-Trip, which is a different baseball division. We're playing in Smyrna this weekend. So they're social distancing. The kids can't share equipment and all that good stuff. Yeah. But, you know, at least they're out on the field. And we've been practicing up here at our Lebanon Youth Baseball. So getting back at it, everything's kind of getting a little better.
Well, Ronnie, what's your story today?
Well, my story is, we're still doing good at Bates Ford. We, still getting used cars in. Well, we need more cars. One thing about it, as summer be approaching, I think it's Saturday when the official day of summer, and we have used cars, but right now, our trade-ins, we're not getting the trade that we like to have, and you can't hardly buy a lot of cars because they're hard to get. But our new cars are still doing well. We still have 0% interest on our trucks. But one thing about our new cars, the 20s are going away. We got a few 19s. But if you don't see something on our lot, we would ask you to please come in and talk to a sales representative, and we'll try to find what you need.
I let you take off and you talk about baseball. You let Ronnie have the mic, and he's right off talking about
Yeah, you see which way we're going here.
Sales are important to a sales rep.
That's it.
Very much. Well, I usually start off saying Bates Ford at 1673 West Main is a dealer that trade for anything you don't eat. Everybody knows that, but that's why we keep reminding you of that. And I guess we could mention one more time that $24.95 oil change.
It is $24.95. Change your oil, do your inspection, give you a vehicle inspection report where we check your brakes, batteries, tires, hoses. If you're going on vacation, like I always say, if you want to come in and get your oil changed, we'll make sure your car's roadworthy and ready to get down the road. So if you just come in, $24.95 up to 5 quarts.
Well, it's just, it's almost an unbelievable deal. And you said last week you're not making any money.
No, and I like
friends.
Right. And like I said, I challenge anybody to go to the parts house and buy your oil and filter for $24.95. We can do it because we buy in bulk and we don't make anything. Well, oil change, it's basically a courtesy for the dealership. 1, to the vehicles we sell, and 2, for customers. We've got lots and lots of customers who have Ford vehicles, and they'll come up to us and go, "Hey, my daughter or my husband's got a off-brand, and we work on any make and any model." So we try to accommodate everybody.
Yeah. Well, I'll confess, for years I've changed my own oil. You got to have them, whatever you call them, where you pull your car.
Right, the ramps.
Ramps. Got to have ramps. And I remember one time got on that. Kind of awkward and bent the thing, and
right.
Yeah, it's a lot, and then you get dirty, and it takes me about 2 times as long as it would you, and all that kind of stuff.
Well, another thing too, you got to dispose of the oil. Right, people don't think of that too. That's
that wasn't a problem back then. I don't recall it being. I don't remember what I did with it even.
Right.
Oh yes. Well, I took it to a parts house usually. Okay.
Yeah, but you got to find somewhere to take your time, dispose of the oil and stuff like that. But I'll tell you a funny thing: we save our waste oil, and that's how we heat our shop in the winters. So, it actually works back. We recycle the waste oil. I actually have people that work on their own farm equipment or something like that. They'll call me from time to time and say, "Hey, you mind if I dump some oil?" I'm like, "No, bring it on. We store it, so we burn it in the winter."
That's great. You're getting the most out of it, and you're not polluting.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. That's how you do the $24.95.
Save on utilities.
Well, you say you are looking for cars. I mean, you
Yes.
can't keep enough, especially I guess the pre-owned. A lot of people.
Right. We got pre-owned, and a lot of times we got a lot of parents that come in and buy a car for the kids, and they don't want to spend a lot of money for cars because they don't want to pay that high insurance. And a lot of time we need that $8,000 to $9,000 car, and a lot of time people come in and want a $3,000 or $4,000 car. And that's hard to find, and every now and then we have a few of those cars, but they don't last long.
Yeah.
So when you got a 10 or 12 salespeople, and they got a list on their want list of people that want that type of car. So anytime one of those cars come in, we got everybody that's after that same car.
Do you salespeople ever fight over who gets to sell one of them?
Well, we don't ever fight over it, but the first person to come with the cash is king. You know, the first person come with the money, they get the deal.
Okay, but you're very much aware of those, and
Yes.
and you have people who really want them.
Yes, sir.
Your customers and the other salespeople's customers too.
Right, but the want list is very, very important. You know, you got the want list, and you keep up with your customers. You call them, and they come in. But most of the time, everything work well with the salespeople. You know.
Well, tires. Let's talk tires.
We're putting tires on 4 or 5 sets a day. We've got great deals on tires. We've got rebates as far as, $130. So there's several different options there. We always tell our customers if we don't have it, we can get them. So that, we can get any major brand. Like I said, Ford is probably one of the biggest tire purchasers, and that's how they can sell them and be so cheap, because they have to put tires on all their new vehicles. So, we'll meet or beat anybody's price. Plus, we also have that Ford service card where you can do 0% interest for 6 months or 0% interest for 12 months if it's over $500. So there's a lot of options. Something else I wanted to say today, and I've been asked probably 50 times, if I've been asked one time, is the Bronco. That new Bronco Ford's got. They're debuting it on July 9th. And it's going to be similar to the Jeep and compete in Ford. And I even looked at something yesterday where Ford's has got more options. The doors will come off, the top will come off, and all that. But I bet I've had 50 customers ask me about that Bronco. Because of the COVID situation, Ford was going to debut it in the spring, and then they couldn't because of the situation. But July 9th, they are going to debut the new Ford Bronco, so that'll be coming out, and that seems to be a really popular vehicle that a lot of people are asking me about.
When will you have one?
I wish I knew. I promise you, I'd give anything, because I've had 6 or 7 people tell me they want the first one we've got. So, it's, all from great customers to family, friends, and things, but I wish I knew. But
what if you know about it?
Right? Yes, know about the Bronco. Matter of fact, I got text on it. People been texting me about it, and they want to get one when they come in. Let me know. They want to know when it's coming.
That's a very sought after vehicle. I promise you. I've had for a car debuting. That's the most I've had any kind of inquiries about. I'm Facebook everywhere, people, and I try to put articles on there that I get from Ford and stuff on Facebook to kind of notify friends and family and stuff. And I've been inquired about that vehicle. If I've been inquired one time, I've been inquired 50.
What is so different or so great, or what makes people so desirous?
I think maybe because the years ago it was such a popular vehicle and people really liked it. Tony Bates is driving one. It was actually his uncle's vehicle. It's an early 80s, I believe, Bronco that he found in a carport that it belonged to Melvin Nelson. I don't know. He worked at Ford Glass, Mr. Bates's uncle. And somebody called Tony and said a gentleman had it in his carport and was getting, sickly and was wanting to get rid of it. And Mr. Bates went down there. It was in Lebanon, and bought the vehicle. And he's actually driving a early 80s Bronco right now. But they're just a very popular, sought-after vehicle, and I think the fact that Ford's bringing them back out, people's interest is really peaked.
I don't know whether there's a little nostalgia involved in it or not, but it's for sure going to be a modern version.
It looks kind of similar. I've seen pictures to the older one, but like I said, I've been asked several times, and like I said, Mr. Bates is driving an older one right now. Of course, he likes the older stuff, so I think it's going to have a lot of interest.
All right, and July the 9th, did you say?
July the 9th is
Will be the debut.
Debut, but
What they said.
and so hopefully maybe by August, September we'll have some on the lot. I can only hope.
All right. Well, I guess that's going to do it for Bates Ford this morning. They are the dealer that trade for anything that don't eat, and you're still encouraging people to bring it in.
Yes, sir. If you don't feel comfortable, you can drop it in the parking lot, leave the keys in it, or we got a drop box. We'll be happy to serve you in any way possible.
Okay. Paul Tubbs, Dealer Operations Manager, Ronnie Kelly in sales at Bates Ford. Thank you all for being with us. We'll take a break here. This is Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
And it's now 7:13. Let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to Absolute Kubota and Rental Exmark. Large inventory of Exmark mowers for homeowners and commercial users. #1 selling brand, bought 2-to-1 over any other commercial mower brand. 1325 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. It's still blocked out there in Brentwood due to that nasty head-on collision involving a police cruiser on Franklin Road between Concord Road and Murray Lane. Again, all the media's gathered up around the scene. Everybody's here for some reason, but traffic's just not going anywhere. On Franklin Road in Brentwood between Concord Road and Murray Lane is a wrap-up that wreck at Hamilton Church Road at Murfreesboro Pike. It's time to have some summertime fun at Adventures Unlimited on the Collier River. Book online at adventuresunlimited.net. I'm Commander Chuck. You're on time traffic.
Renewal happens here at Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing. Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing has experienced new leadership and a new atmosphere. Same location in the heart of Lebanon, 731 Castle Heights Court on the Castle Heights campus. Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing is providing 5-star clinical outcomes to short-term and long-term care residents. Call 615-444-4319 for a tour and to experience the new culture. Renewal happens here at Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing. All right, we welcome you to our program here for a Thursday morning, and I'm going to go to the phone, and William Porter of the City of Lebanon Recreation Department is on the phone this morning. William, good morning.
Good morning, Coleman. How are you doing?
I am doing well, and I'm glad to hear your voice and glad to be able to talk to you. Jeff Baines is the one responsible for getting me a guest each third Thursday morning, and he had sent me an email earlier that you were going to be it, and so we're certainly glad to hear from you today. How's everything going?
Well, we're doing good. I had a irrigation problem last night. I had a irrigation pipe bust, and so we came up and got the water shut off, and I was up there early this morning playing with it. So that's where I'm at right now, is out on a ball field looking at the irrigation system.
Well, we've probably got a lot to talk about here in about 14 minutes, but you were here 2 or 3 weeks ago, I guess it was, and we talked quite a bit about what had happened with the tornado and the park situation here. But I guess a good place to start would be give us an update on where we are right now.
Okay, well, like I said, the girls softball started practicing again Monday. The baseball had started a week ago, a week earlier than they did, practicing. So we've got 6 fields that they're able to practice on right now. And so both of those are getting their practices in. I think youth baseball is looking to start games on July the 6th, and the girls are looking to start on July the 13th. Mm-hmm. So the girls' fields up there are about what we like up there is probably getting some turf down in their bullpens and their batting cages and some padding. But most of their netting's up. Their press box has been fixed. They're putting bleachers back together, and so most of their place is coming together except for the lights. We're going to be working on lights for a while.
Well,
we got 52 of them to try to get back up. The same, I think they'll finish up the press boxes on Field 7 and Field 10, which are the ones that Lebanon Youth Baseball is playing on. And they'll have their press boxes back working and everything ready to go. Concession stand area is redone. So they've painted just about every press box. They had a little work to do on every press box up here, and most of that type of stuff is getting finished up. The press boxes are repainted. Every dugout just about had to have some roof work done on it and some block work done on it, and so most of those have been repainted and fixed, and so I think probably in the next 2 to 3 weeks we'll have most everything done up here except for having all the lights done.
Well, William, let me ask you this. I don't know whether we talked about this when you were here, but it's certainly been a different time for you and your department, those that help you who maintain the fields. Mostly that's what they'd be doing. But I guess from the time the tornado came, it's been almost a different world and every day different from the usual for you and your crew. Is that right?
Well, it's like I told a lot of people, the maintenance of the fields really never stops because you just can't run away from it. Whether they're playing on it or whether they're not. Grass is growing, and grass is growing up on your infield if you're not driving it or maintaining it and keeping it looking good. So it's the maintenance on the fields really didn't change. The thing that changed is you didn't have bathrooms to clean every day, and you didn't have 2,000 people up here cleaning that night that you got to get back. Those types of things we just haven't had. But as far as the actual maintenance on the fields, on the ball fields and mowing, that's basically what the crew's been doing. Like I said, the part you didn't have was you didn't have 5 sets of bathrooms to clean every day where people were using them all night, and then the trash from concession stands and everything for people being up here. So. That side of it really didn't stop as far as the maintenance of the fields. It's just the other stuff that comes with people being here all the time.
All right. Once you get underway, what changes are there going to be, and what tell us what is going to be different, and to what degree is it going to be different?
Well, like I said, we'll maintain. We'll keep an eye on the bathrooms. A lot of times when people come to the ballpark, they just turn their kids loose. And don't bother me till this game's over so I can watch the game. And so what we'll be doing is, I think people will, have their kids with them. We're going to try to get people to where they're separated, got some social distancing. We'll keep an eye on the bathrooms where we've just got people going into the bathrooms, 3 at a time or whatever to use the bathroom and come out where people aren't. We don't have a lot of folks in those at the same time. They'll be doing, hand sanitizing and that type of thing. And so those are the things that you're going to be seeing, up here just to try to keep people safe. I think I talked to Wayne, and I think they are going to do doubleheaders. So on a night that they play, instead of having 12 teams come up here to play, because they got 3 fields, they'll just have 6 teams. So the teams that are here at 6 o'clock or 5:30, whatever time they start, that's who's going to be here that night. So they'll just play a game, turn around, play a doubleheader, play the same team. So that just kind of cuts down on the volume of people that you have. You know what I mean, at the park.
Right. All right. What about the social distancing aspect between the teams that are on the field, and how is that going to be any different at all, really? But if so, how?
Well, girls softball is in a great position for theirs because they have a big spacious dugout. Plus, they have each field up there has a pitching bullpen next to the dugout. Mm-hmm. So they got plenty of room to scatter, 5 in, this part and 5 in this other part where they're not having to put, 13 or 14 kids in a dugout. So that's what they'll try to do is just kind of limit, how many we have in each side of that dugout, and I think baseball is trying to do the same thing where they just don't have, 13 or 14 people in the dugout at the same time, So there'll be a few, maybe they'll have a bench or something maybe on the outside, where some can sit there and some can be in the dugout. So just trying to keep them away from each other because there's a lot of social distancing in baseball and softball because you don't play right up against somebody, So the dugouts is and the pitcher, the catcher, the hitter, and the umpire are really the closest people that are to each other. So if we can kind of keep them separated a little bit in the dugouts and keep that going, I think that'll be a good thing, and try to keep everybody safe and healthy, and still at the same time get to get to play.
Well, what about concession stands? You go even for an hour 15-minute ball game, and some of them go a little longer than that, maybe an hour and a half. But you get thirsty, maybe you want something to eat. Will we have a concession stand, and if so, anything different really about that?
Yes, they're going to have concessions. I think both of them are going to have concessions. I think Lebanon Youth Baseball's talked about having a limited menu of things that, maybe prepackaged stuff, and they're going to have gloves on, of course. And a lot of times in the concession stands, you have volunteer workers. You know what I mean? Like my team would work at the first game, and another team would work at the second game. There won't be any of that. So they'll just have probably, I think, Lebanon Youth Baseball is talking about having two people that's their job. Debbie Denny's one of them, and I don't know who else they're going to get to help her, but I think they're going to do that and sell canned drinks, bottled Gatorades. They won't be selling sunflower seeds and bubble gums and that type of stuff that you chew and spit on the ground, and there won't be any of that. So that'll be something different. Peanuts, junk like that won't be allowed at the park, but where you're touching and throwing stuff down and spitting stuff out. So, but that's kind of what each one of them's looking at doing, and taking the safeguards. They've gone to play at the travel places, and they've run concession stands at those, and so I think they're going to try to run theirs. But like I said, it may be a little bit limited menu that they serve from, but that's what they're looking to provide. At least drinks and some kind of foods.
All right. One other thing, I'm just kind of thinking out loud as you talk here this morning. But what about policing this, or somebody? Is it you and your people's responsibility to tell folks, hey, you can't do this, or only so many in the restroom at a time, or this sort of thing? How you going to control that?
Well, I think girls softball and Lebanon Youth Baseball have volunteers that work, like they've got a board for Lebanon girls softball, so I think they'll have board members there, along with maybe some of our folks there that's, they're trying to make sure everybody social distances themselves the best they can, and then it kind of guards the bathroom, to make sure, people aren't congregating in the bathroom. Mm-hmm. So some of our guys I'm sure will be here when it starts to begin with the first week or so to try to see how, kind of set the precedent, and along with them. And then I think some of the board members and the people who run those leagues will also help in policing that and trying to get people to do what they're supposed to do.
Okay, we got about 3.5 minutes left here, and I just started in. We when I say unrehearsed, this program certainly is unrehearsed, and especially in some situations. But I just wondered, is there some other reason, some other thing that you wanted to address? I just got the word Jeff wanted you to come out and be on the program, and nothing specific to talk about. So what else might be on your mind this morning?
Oh, it's like I said, it's something different for everybody. We've got the Don Fox Parks back; it's open, everything except for the playgrounds. And a lot of people are, calling every day wanting to know, and when's the playground going to be open? And we're still trying to look for some guidance from the governor on what they're supposed to do if they open up a playground. Some of our opinion is, but my opinion doesn't really matter when it comes to what they're wanting us to do. So, and nobody else has really opened a lot of their playgrounds. So that's been a subject that's come up in a lot of phone calls about the playground. And so as soon as we get some guidance from the governor and those, we're just trying to wait on something from them about opening up the playgrounds. But the pavilions are open, and the wading pool's open, and the walking track's open. So we've got most of that back going. If we can get some of this ball going up here, maybe some folks can get back to a little bit of some kind of normalcy. It's not. I don't know if it's ever going to be normal again for a while, but at least they can get out and play a little bit, and instead of being quarantined in all the time at the house.
Has there been a lot of criticism? I guess all of us have maybe expressed some negative comments, griped a little bit, if you will. But is that maybe the extent of or if you had some tirades thrown at you because of the situation?
I'll tell you what, Coleman. I said to somebody, this is a month ago, that I really expected a lot more. You know what I mean? Than what we've gotten. You know, about why is this not open? Why aren't we playing this? Why aren't we doing this? And really, for the most part, most folks have been, you know, understanding and kind of know what, you know, that we're in a different time, and you know, so it just speaks to the town that we live in and the kind of folks that we have here, that, you know, and that doesn't mean you don't have some, but the vast majority have been, you know, complimentary of, you know, thanking us for what we are getting done, and instead of griping about what they can't do.
Right, and then even if you do have a complaint, there's a right way to express that. Even if you disagree, you can disagree in a friendly way. I just got to say, I think y'all do a tremendous job. I've thought it for years. I've compared you with some other places that I've been. We've always had some great work from your department. These ballparks are spick and span and just ready to play. And I commend you and have and will continue to for the good job you're doing. And I do appreciate you being with us today. Any final words, William?
Well, and I tell people, you know, it's a rough season today, but our park's getting a real facelift. You know, like I just said, every press box up here has been, you know, almost re-roofed and repainted, and a lot of work done, and some new fencing put up, and some new netting, and it's going to have some new lighting, and you know, it's got a facelift that, you know, it's not the way we would have wanted to have it done, but, you know, try to find some positives out of the negatives.
Okay, we're going to let you
It's
go.
really nice when they get done.
Thank you so much for being with us this morning. We appreciate it, and I hope you get your problem taken care of, and have a nice day, okay?
Okay, thank you, Coleman.
Thank you. That is William Porter, and he is in charge of all the recreation department for the city of Lebanon, he and his crew, and we appreciate him being with us today. Part 1 of Coleman and Company is complete. Well, Part 2 is coming up here on FM 98.9.
And it's now 7:32. Let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to Bates Ford, and get $50 off, $250 repair offer to owners of 4 to 10-year-old Ford, Lincoln, or Mercury vehicles. Bates Ford, 1673 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Well, good morning. The road remains closed here in Brentwood with this officer-involved crash, and reports through the Brentwood Police Department that this officer has been killed here on Franklin Road between Concord Road and Murray Lane. Avoid this area here in Brentwood, this part of Williamson County, as the accident reconstruction team is out here on the scene of this nasty crash. It's a wreck there at Harding Place at Overcrest Drive, and traffic's really busy, 65 right now, coming through Madison. If your glasses are always fogging up, the answer is Zipwax Anti-Fog Cleaner. Log on to zipwaxantifogcleaner.com. I'm Commander Chuck. You're on time traffic.
71 degrees all the way.
73 degrees, please.
So what's your perfect degree of comfort? We'll help you find it with professional Rheem HVAC service that'll keep your home comfy year-round, save on energy costs, and may qualify for utility rebates and tax credits. So enjoy a new degree of comfort.
72 degrees, and I'm good to go.
Financing available through TVA's Energy Right program and your local power company. Call Randy's Heat and Air 237-3604.
It's all about taking care of you, and THW Insurance will do just that. Are you looking for home or auto insurance? THW represents Westfield Insurance and other fine companies. Together, we will protect you and your family. Call Carl Ragland at 615-443-6530 or stop in and see him at the Wilson Bank and Trust Providence location in Mount Juliet.
Hey, this is Paul with Bates Ford, and with all the craziness going on in the community right now, Bates Ford is still here to serve you. We've got some great deals, oil change specials for $28.95 for up to 5 quarts. We will pick up and deliver your vehicle, whether it's for sales or service. On the sales end, we've got 0 interest for 72 months and 6 months deferred payment. So give us a call at Bates Ford, 615-444-8221. Bates Ford, the dealer that will trade for anything that don't eat.
Today's forecast calls for plenty of sunshine with temperatures topping out in the mid-80s. You will feel a difference in the humidity today as well. On Friday, highs will plummet into the low 90 with lots of humidity. By Saturday, temperatures may reach the mid-90s, so make sure to stay hydrated. This weather forecast is brought to you by Walker Auction and Realty. Professional auction and real estate services. Get top dollar for your home, land, or personal property. Log on to MikeWalkerAuctions.com. They know auctions. That's a look at your forecast. I'm meteorologist TJ Scott.
Coleman and Company, we welcome you to part 2 here on a Thursday morning. Heather Sadler is on the phone this morning to talk about Pavilion Senior Living here in Lebanon. Heather, good morning.
Good morning.
And I hope things are going well.
They are going as well as expected. So,
well, you were telling me as we talked before the on-the-air light came on that you're waiting for a report. We might start there.
Well, we both of our communities, our rehab community and our assisted living community, have completed all the COVID-19 tests on all our staff and residents. So now we wait. So we did our Carthage community this week as well, and they came back all negative. So we're anticipating both of these communities doing the same. But it's a waiting game until we get the results. So we're hoping to have them back before Friday.
It's got to be a relief for you to find out that all the reports are negative, and then certainly what you're hoping for, right?
That's what we're hoping for, and if not, we've got contingency plans just on what we do next and our next steps. And we've been really diligent on following the CDC guidelines and doing everything we can do to stop the spread. And, unfortunately, that means no visitors. And unfortunately, that means, lots of isolation and social distancing and things like that. Yeah. We are hoping once we get our results back, if they're all negative, the next step is the governor has said that we can do some limited visitation. Mm-hmm. So that limited visitation, but we can only do that once we get all our test results back. But that limited visitation, it looks a little stranger than just normal visitation, and it has to be in a designated area, and it has to still be distanced apart, and so we've got some. We still have some work to do to keep our residents safe.
Okay. I might remind everybody, most of our regular listeners, of course, know that you're the marketing director for the Pavilion and have been. But if you are new to our listening audience, or relatively new, that's what Heather does. And the Pavilion Senior Living is located at 1409 Medical Center Drive. It's just north of Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital. If you were going to the emergency room, don't turn left there. Go one block further, one street. The next street after that, take a left, and you'll find the Pavilion down there on the right. But it is you don't like to call it a facility. If you want to call it a facility, it's a wonderful one. If you want to call it a community, you've got a wonderful community, don't you?
We do have a wonderful community, a community of residents and staff, and, it makes one big family. So, we offer so many services on that campus. We offer assisted living, memory care, skilled nursing, and long-term care all on that campus. So we can help everybody at the level they need. And, our plans are as soon as we can get all the ducks in a row. And, of course, this pandemic kind of slowed everything, is to offer independent living on that same campus. So.
Well, you have, I think you do have some openings in both sides, both in assisted living and in
our rehab has openings, as we have discharges. So we do. We still have our new wing that we opened in March. That is kind of a soft opening. So we are still admitting during this. Mm-hmm. We've worked on since they have to be on isolation. To keep everybody safe, we've added a vacation-isolation, is what we're calling it. So we're making those 14 days as special as we possibly can from our side. Their favorite meals, their favorite milkshakes, even down to some towel animals in their rooms. So we're trying to make the best of a situation that's kind of been handed to us. But we still know that assisted living is a need product, and people need us, and we want to be there to help them.
And you are still available for respite care if somebody wants to bring somebody by for a week or so to just maybe go out of town or to just have a little time of rest.
That's right. That's right. We're working on that. Of course, people are now wanting to go to the beach a little bit and travel, and we'll be glad to help with that if they were taking care of their loved ones.
All right. You can reach Heather at 615-444-5556. And anything else this morning before we close out?
I think that's all I got. So
all right.
I'll talk to you next week. Maybe see you. Maybe we'll do a selfie next week.
All right. Great. Thanks so much. That is Heather Sadler, Marketing Director for the Pavilion Senior Living. And it takes us to about 21 minutes before the 8 o'clock hour. And as you know, we are in the process of interviewing all the candidates on the ballot for school board. There are 11 of them on the Wilson County School Board's 4 positions. There are 4 zones that have election coming up, and there's 11 of those that we're interviewing, and today I want to introduce Jonathan White, who's a candidate for Zone 3. Jonathan is with us here in studio, and good morning to you.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
You're telling me this is your first time on the radio?
Yes, sir.
Well, what we're going to do, I'm going to let you have the first minute or two here, or however long you want to take, to tell us a little bit about yourself. And people like to know a little bit about you, your background, your family, that sort of situation. So tell us about Jonathan White.
Fantastic. Good morning. I was born and raised in Northeast Tennessee. I relocated to Middle Tennessee in 1999 and never left. And my wife and I bought our first home in Mount Juliet in 2002. She's a Mount Juliet, been here since she was 3, graduate of the Mount Juliet High School. And we have a unique family. So we have 8 children currently in the Wilson County school system. We range everywhere from a rising 10th grader to 2 rising first graders. I work for a local company in Nashville, Stanza Electric Company, where I serve as our Vice President of Talent and Strategy.
Why are you running for school board?
Yeah.
The fact that you've got that many children in the schools might give us a clue, but there's quite a responsibility for you 7 people. Why do you want that?
Yeah, it really comes down to me to a few things. One is that I believe that all students deserve access or the opportunity to a high-quality education. So when my wife and I were looking at buying our first house, we chose Mount Juliet because of the school system. That's why we chose Wilson County. We chose to stay here. The second is that I see our district making, you can't deny the great performance they have, right? Top 5% in the state, exemplary school system, et cetera. And over the last several years, you've seen a lot of progress in making sure that our teachers are both empowered and compensated for the job they do, right? And so how do we keep that momentum going? How do we keep that up? And lastly, it's time to serve the community. So working in corporate America for 20 plus years now and serving on various advisory councils and things within those organizations, it was time for me to get local into Wilson County and get engaged.
Are there specific changes that you feel need to be made regarding policy, procedure, or whatever, regarding our schools, the way they're run?
Yeah, I think that the school board member's job is a couple of things. One is it's to be a conduit between the zone that you represent and the school district back to the zone. And so when we think about, changes to the way the schools are run and et cetera, I think the best thing we can do is get the educators empowered to make sure that they make the right decisions, right? And once they make a commitment, let's make sure that they have a good accountability partner in their board, that they're executing on what that plan is. And so when I look out at what our school board's done, my hats are off to them. It's a very tough job. The hours are long, right? And the critique is high because you can't please everyone. And so, when I think about the things that I would like to see progress, I'm going to use that word instead of necessarily change, right? One is several years ago, I had a teacher come to me. So I've spent most of my career in the human capital, human resources space. And I had a teacher come and say, hey, I can't afford to put my children on the health care insurance of the district. What are my options? And this was before Affordable Care Act and all of those options were available. And I sat down with this teacher who's a friend, and I helped him navigate some of those decisions. And that planted a seed of why we have almost 2,000 employees in the district. That's a large organization. Why can our teachers not afford health care coverage for their children? And so then there's a lot of different things you can start to look at there. But there's a human resources team at the school, and they're accountable to design that plan and implement it and manage it. And so a board member, right, you ask questions, you offer advice, you offer counsel, things along those lines. I think that there's a opportunity to share better information. How do you communicate more effectively? How do you make sure that voices of parents, teachers, students are heard? And then also at the same time, how do you make sure that the school system's message is reinforced and understood throughout the district?
Do you feel that there is some lack of communication, or that there could be communication efforts could be improved, especially regarding the central office and the director of schools?
Yeah, I think they do a great job, right? I mean, they've got the communications person. Dr. Wright puts messages out. You've got Let's Talk. You've got all these options that are out there. But if you look at the recent budget discussion that occurred, and then the churn that then occurred after that first initial readout by Mr. Hall, if you will, how do you make sure that you package information where people can consume it and react to it? How do you make sure that people are educated on the way that the schools are funded, and that funding flows, right? There's state funding that comes in, there's federal funding comes in, there's county funding that comes in. And how do we make sure that people understand that? Because if I may use an analogy, it's almost like the Bermuda Triangle to me. So you have the county commission sits at one corner, you have the school board that sits at another corner, and then you have the central office that sits at another corner, and we all three have to work together to make sure that the thing in the middle doesn't get lost, which is our students and our teachers, right, and the parents' voice. And so if the voters are telling their commissioners, for instance, no new taxes, I don't want to spend any more money, et cetera, but then they're telling the school board, we want more service, we want more, we want more, we want more. How do all three of those points come together? With the central office, this and this, to make sure that those students, the teachers in the middle, don't get lost. Mm-hmm. And so is there opportunity for improvement? I think there's opportunity for improvement in everything we do. That's not a knock on what's currently happening. It's just how do we make sure that we engage? And engagement starts with two things. Active listening. You have to listen to understand before you're understood. Right? You have to make sure that you play back what you just heard the person say to make sure that you understood them correctly. Mm-hmm. And the second is empathy. You have to be able to see the world through somebody else's lens in order to understand where they're coming from.
Okay. We've got a lot more to talk about. We've got to take a break right here. Jonathan White is a candidate for School Board Zone 3, and we'll continue after this break here on Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
And to 747, let's see what's happening on the roadways. Want to thank Absolute Kubota and Rental Exmark. Large inventory of Exmark mowers for homeowners and commercial users. #1 selling brand, bought 2-to-1 over any other commercial mower brand. 1325 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Well, good morning. They're still working this wreck out here on the interstate. It's over to the left-hand side. It's 24 westbound at Sam Ridley Parkway. Traffic is able to get through there, but people are still rubbernecking. It's still shut down, of course, in Brentwood on Franklin Road between Concord Road and Murray Lane on that head-on collision involving that police officer that was killed this morning. Again, avoid that area over in Brentwood if all possible. The accident reconstruction team is out here on the scene. If your glasses are always fogging up, the answer is Zipwax Anti-Fog Cleaner. Log on now, ZipwaxAntifogCleaner.com. I'm Commander Chuck. You're on time traffic.
The Pavilion Senior Living residents are inviting you to become their new neighbor. If you're looking for a sign to move, call us at 444-5556 to learn more about the details. Or go to thepavilionseniorliving.com for more information. Or better yet, just drop by 1408 Medical Center Drive right behind Tenova Hospital and see for yourself. You should move here.
Coleman & Company, thanks for joining us. If you just tuned our way, today we have another school board candidate we're talking with. He is Jonathan White, and he's a candidate for Zone 3. Now, I believe the incumbent in Zone 3 has chosen not to run for re-election. So there's you and your opponent that we will be talking with tomorrow. The two of you, one of which will be representing Zone 3, and the election is August the 6th, Thursday, August the 6th, and early voting begins sometime in July. Is it 17th maybe?
I believe so, yes.
I think that's right. Anyway, we'll get to all that later. But what's it been like? You have to qualify, and of course the qualification to get your name on the ballot and all this takes place fairly early, and then everybody knows then, not everybody, but the word gets out that you're a candidate and so on. So I just wondered what has it been like so far as you tell people you want to represent your zone on the school board, and the reaction from people who maybe know you or find out that you're running? What's that been like?
Humbling is the word that comes to mind. A lot of friends and families and members and acquaintances have all been very supportive, and you know, in my first, hey, I'm going to go put some yard signs out, and I ran out of signs, and so I had to go order some more.
That's probably a good problem.
Yeah, and a good problem to have. I wasn't expecting it.
Maybe.
You know, and so there's an initial wave of excitement or of support that comes, and then that's quickly followed by some really hard, tough questions that then follow that, or some feedback of, hey, I voiced this to my school board member and it didn't happen. What's your stance on that? But it's been great. The Election Commission in Wilson County is phenomenal. They've been very helpful to teach somebody who's never done this before all the ins and outs, and how do you do that, and what does that look like?
Well, have you got positive reaction from people when they find out you're running? Good support, you feel?
I do, yes. So if you measure data, and I love the notion of understand what the data tells you. My original Facebook social media post, just introducing myself organically, so that means no paid ads, reached just shy of 6,000 people in about 72 hours. And so that told me it was being shared a lot, it was being viewed a lot, it was very active. I've had a lot of positive feedback around having a parent, another parent on the school board, if you will. And our children, we're so blessed. I mean, we have everything from AP honors classes to we have a couple of kids that are in exceptional education CDC classes. And so I've heard from a variety of parents, especially in that space, that say, having a parent on the school board that has a voice for our children that need that little bit of extra help, that need that IEP is very positive.
I don't very often look at the county map and see where each school zone is located. Kind of give us the parameters of Zone 3. Which area? And I'm wondering which schools are in that zone.
Yes, sir. So it's Wilson Central High School, which, their graduation is tomorrow night. So congratulations to our seniors, and thanks for being flexible in these uncertain times. Gladeville Elementary, Gladeville Middle, and Rutland.
Okay, so they are the actual schools in that geographic zone. You no doubt with children in the range that you have here, you several schools are involved. You probably know a lot of teachers, and teachers probably use their school board representative to get their message across sometimes, especially if they've got either something they'd like to get implemented or some kind of change or something that they don't like. You're probably a sounding board for them. How can you, what will it be like if you're elected as far as listening to the teachers, and how available will you be, not only them, but other people of the community of your zone?
Absolutely. I plan to be readily available as much as feasibly possible. Raising 8 children is raising 8 children. At the same time, I have pulled back from other work I was doing in other spaces of nonprofits, et cetera, to make sure that I can focus my availability into this outside of spending time at the Mount Juliet Little League Park with 3 kids who enjoy playing ball.
Oh, okay.
But, the teachers, this is an interesting line of a school board member, because you don't want to get in between the relationship between the leader of the school and the teacher. You want to foster a healthy relationship. And the other thing you don't want to be is the dumping ground of all the problems. So how do you help people solve their problem? How do you help people empower them with data, with information, and with confidence to be able to go have those conversations? At the same time, there's things that teachers bring that the school board member should absolutely be engaged and involved in, right? Compensation, budget, advocating at the state level. You know, I don't think politicians should decide how teachers teach. I think teachers should decide how they teach. And so how do we make sure that we give them the right guardrails so we don't run off the highway, but let's not interfere with that student-teacher relationship. When we had to go home in March, I saw some of the most beautiful things happen on these Zoom calls with my kids. I had my kids getting up to get on a Zoom call. You know, they were excited to see their teacher. And that relationship is so important, and how do we cultivate that? But at the same time, the teachers need a voice, the parents need a voice, the students need a voice.
All right, I'm going to. We have the county commission. The school board and the county commission sometimes are at odds, and there are times when you feel like, as a school board member, we need more money for our schools. We haven't been able to build schools fast enough with the growing population, the growth we've experienced. So that's one thing. A good portion of our tax dollar goes to education here, as you well know. Do you? What about the relationship, school board, county commission, and do you feel that all the facts are on the table, that the information that's disseminated by the school director, school board is all that the county commission needs to make the right decision for money, for building new schools, appropriation, that sort of thing?
It's a good question. Do I know that all the facts and information the county commission needs are out there? I don't, because I've not heard from any commissioners that say I need more, or have engaged to say, hey, how would you approach this, et cetera? What is your role? So I haven't listened to them yet.
Well, the trust factor is
well, I think anytime you take a role in politics or in a very public government funded role, right, you open yourself up to some level of distrust. It always appears at the level to be bureaucracy. The red tape that comes from the federal government, the red tape that comes from the state, that requires money for the district to operate, whether they created that red tape or not. So there's always you almost start at a disadvantage. Mm-hmm. Right? Isn't that interesting? We trust our teachers every day to take our children into their care, educate them, teach them, and meet their needs. But then we distrust by nature, to some degree, the people that are leading those people, or the people that are trying to appropriate that money. And so, do I think all the information's out there? I think the school board has done a great job of making sure that the residents of this county understand that we're in the bottom 5% of funding and we're in the top 5% of performance. That tells me something's going well. We're getting that impact, if you will. Is that where we want to be? To use another analogy, you almost end up in like a circle, like a doom loop, right? The higher you perform, the more people it attracts to the county grows, the income of the county grows, the state reduces their funding, but the expectation of the performance stays the same. And if you continue that cycle, then you end up in doom. How do we share that information? And how do we get people aligned to our schools help bring you here and help keep you here? How do we make sure that they're properly funded? I think that there's things that create distrust. Sure, right? There's a lot of complaints about the size of buildings or field houses, or Wilson Central High School. They need new air conditioners. And so I believe they have a plan to get that, and I believe they're working on that. But where is that in all the conversation? We've got a gym that sits out on 840. My daughter loves going to school every day. The leader of that school, Mr. Mayfield's phenomenal. He communicated just yesterday about the AB schedule for high schools. And it was a long email, but it was so well laid out that people could understand what that meant. So.
All right, one thing that was a pretty controversial issue, depending on which side you're on, I guess, but the school calendar, and I think you know what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. Do you have a comment about that you'd like to make one way or the other?
Yeah. What I didn't understand was we surveyed the community. The community gave us a majority opinion, and then we went in a different direction.
Yeah.
And that frustrates people. So if you ask somebody their opinion, and a majority of overwhelming people give you an answer, right? And 50% plus one, it was a little bit higher than that. Why did we end up going a different direction? And that's okay, right? People can make those decisions. That's why we hire these people to make them. But at the same time, why ask people then if the opinion doesn't sway, right? And so I heard things like a 2-week fall break. You have some amount of students that don't get to eat unless they're eating at school. And 2 weeks in the fall is a long time to go without food. Well, that's good information to have. And so it seemed like that there was a better way maybe to engage the community and then give the feedback. If you ask somebody for their opinion, you do something different, you owe them an answer why.
All right, we have down to our last minute and a half, but take a minute and a half here to kind of wrap it up, summarize your candidacy, and tell us why Jonathan White should be the next representative for Zone 3 School Board.
Thank you. I would be a humble servant of the parents, teachers, community, as well as trying to be a good thought partner and advisor to the leaders of the district. I believe that teachers should teach. I believe that principals should lead. And I believe the central office should lead those leaders and make sure that they're empowering them, enabling, teaching them, training them, giving everything that they need. One of the things, spending almost 20 years of my career in HR, is what I do know how to do is attract, retain, and develop great talent. And we're going to pick a new school board, a new director of schools. This next school board will. And I feel that my ability and knowledge, skill, and experience of bringing that to the table to say, hey, here's how you assess a leader. Past behavior indicates future behavior. What do they bring to the table? Culturally, how are they going to shape the culture of their organization? How are they going to achieve the strategic plan that wraps up in 2024? They're going to come in. What are you going to change? What are you not going to change? And so I think that we need to make sure that we do a thorough assessment of that leader. Dr. Wright's done a really good job in a lot of areas. And how do we keep that momentum up as well as continue to improve?
All right. Well, thank you so much for being with us this morning, sharing your thoughts with us. Jonathan White, he's candidate for School Zone 3. And again, appreciate you being with us.
Thank you for having me.
We'll invite you to join us tomorrow. Hope you will. And until then, I wish you a tremendous day.